What's up guys, KalipezTech here, coming back at you with another video. This is the beginner's guide to the Samsung Galaxy A72. When you get a new phone, there is a lot that you have to set up to make it really your own. And to some people who may not be as experienced with smartphones as others, it can get a little overwhelming. In this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the basic steps that I take to set up a new phone when I first get it, and these are really going to help you familiarize yourself with this device. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to show you is probably the first thing I do no matter what phone I get to set it up, and this is customizing the home screen. This is super easy, a lot easier than you might expect. It's definitely possible to do it through the settings menu, but this is a lot more convenient because it has all the settings for your home screen. All you need to do is press and hold any finger on the home screen itself, and this menu is going to show up. You can customize everything from wallpapers to widgets to the settings. There's a lot you can do here, and I definitely suggest taking some time to really explore this section as soon as you get your phone. It's going to allow you to do things like changing the layout of your grid and all sorts of different things. You can even get different widgets like alarms, calendars, all sorts of different things. And since this is Android and not a rigid system like iOS, you can customize it so much. You can even download themes, which I think is really cool if you want to take your personalization to the next level. And all of this is done within one menu. So one more time, in case you didn't catch that, any finger, press and hold on any place in the home screen, and it's going to open up. It's really that easy. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to customize what's called your always on display. What this is basically this little black screen that shows up when your screen is locked, but you don't actually want to fully unlock it. It's really useful if you have your phone locked and you just want to see the time or if you have any notifications. And I'm going to show you how you can customize a couple things in it. So we're going to go to our settings, lock screen, and always on display is right here. By default, it is on. Now, if you don't like the always on display, if you don't want it to show up at all, you can always toggle this off. And then when you have your screen locked, it's not even gonna show up. And you can also customize it as well. If you tap this little button right here, by default, it's gonna show for 10 seconds if you tap the screen, but you can also have it show all the time. So that looks basically like this. Whenever you tap the screen when it's locked, now it's going to stay indefinitely. Now you can definitely do whatever you want. It's really up to your taste and what you like, but I really don't recommend having it on the setting because this, even though it's a tiny amount, it still is going to drain the battery. And if you accidentally activate it, I feel like this is really going to add up. And if you can't keep your phone plugged in all the time, then this could be really inconvenient. Now, I know some people are actually able to keep their phone plugged in all the time, and this might be a nice feature for you if you're in that situation. But I personally like to have it kept to the 10 seconds. I think 10 seconds is perfect because if I need to see anything for longer than that, I'm just going to unlock my phone anyway. But again, it is up to you. Also, by default, if you're listening to music, it's not going to show that information. You can turn that on and it's going to show it. I personally like it like this. The most significant setting in the always on display menu is the clock style. Now here, you can actually change the type of clock you have. You can make it an analog clock and you can change the colors too. And you can even take this a step farther and add a picture. So you could have this little cat neon thing. And if you don't like what you see here, you could add something from your gallery, or you could even download something from themes. There's a lot you can do. Once you're done making changes here, hit done. And now when you go to the always on display, it's gonna show up however you set it in the settings. Now the always on display isn't the only place you can change the clock style. You can also do this with the actual lock screen itself. And the way you do that is from the main settings menu, you go to lock screen, and right here we have clock style, and it's gonna actually ask you here if you wanna edit the clock in your always on display or the lock screen. I know this is a little redundant, but I like that they have multiple ways to access different parts of the menu. So of course, to go to your lock screen, you're gonna hit lock screen. And now you can do the same thing, except the difference here is you can't add that little animated picture thing I showed you on the always on display menu. That is exclusive to the always on display, but you can change the clock however you want. When you're done, of course, just hit done, and the clock on the lock screen is gonna be whatever you set it to. Now, this next thing I'm gonna show you is something that's super important to me. I don't know about anybody else, but I personally can't stand annoying notifications that come out of nowhere for things I absolutely do not care about. I have to fix that as soon as I get my phone. Otherwise, it's just gonna drive me crazy. So there are really two things I like to do when I'm setting up a new phone. We're gonna go to our settings, and the first thing I do is decide which notifications I want from which apps. To do that, you're gonna hit notifications. Now by default, it includes all apps, which of course it does. It's gonna have all the things that you don't care about and don't wanna use. So to change this, we're gonna hit this bar, and now it has a list of every app you have, and you can toggle off the things you don't want notifications from. For me personally, that's pretty much everything. There are probably 5 apps or less that I really care about enough to get notifications from. But of course, if you like to be notified of what's going on all your different apps, you can definitely do that. It's really up to you. I'm personally not a fan of notifications in general, but definitely decide for yourself which ones you actually want to keep. The other thing you can change is the pop-up settings. The pop-ups are basically when a notification bar comes up when you first get a notification. And the most important thing to know about this section, by default, it's gonna show those pop-up notifications when the screen is off. Now, if you're in a situation where you don't wanna really be disturbed, then you can definitely turn this off and it's not gonna do that anymore. But this is one that I usually leave alone, just because it's a pretty basic thing. If I have my phone on my desk and I get a text, I want to know about it. But again, you can do whatever works best for you. The other thing that goes along with notifications that's going to be important to take care of as soon as you get the phone is the sounds. Now from the main settings menu, of course, sounds and vibration is right here, and this is where you're going to be. Now by default, when you get a call, this is what it's going to sound like. Now that's definitely not bad, but you can change it to whatever you want, or you can have it silent. And then when you get any kind of notification, you're gonna get this sound. Now that's not bad in and of itself, but hearing that 10 times a day when you're getting all kinds of notification, but hearing that constantly when you're getting all kinds of notifications, for me at least, is super annoying. So I like to just set everything to vibrate, and that way, whenever I get a notification for anything, it's just gonna vibrate and it's not gonna make any annoying noises. If you're in a situation where you have to have your phone completely quiet, then you can always go onto these individual notifications and have them set to silent. But if you just wanna put your phone on vibrate for a little while, or put it on silent for a little while, you can always just set the master part to vibrate and it's not gonna make any kinds of noise. And then when you want the sound back on, you can just hit sound again and it's gonna go back to normal. But keep in mind, if you have either ringtone or notification set to silent, even if you put it on sound, it's of course not gonna make any sound. Another thing to keep in mind is a lot of phones, in fact, I feel like most of them will vibrate when they ring, but for some reason, this phone by default is not set to vibrate when it's ringing. So if you want that, you can just turn that on and it's gonna be all good to go. Now the next thing I'm gonna show you is a pretty important one, and that is your screen lock. Now contrary to how this sounds, this isn't really about how your screen locks, but rather how you unlock your screen. This phone has pretty much every option available to it. Not only does it have a fingerprint scanner that's really good, but it also has face unlock, and trying to find these settings might actually be a little confusing if you're not too familiar with Android's operating system. So I'm gonna show you exactly where to get all of these settings. We're gonna go to our settings menu. Now there are 2 different sections we're gonna need to go to get this fully set up. When you're setting up your phone for the first time, you're gonna wanna go to biometrics and security. And here you're gonna be able to register your face for facial recognition. And also you'll be able to add your fingerprints Once that's all set up, it's going to have some on-screen instructions where it walks you through exactly how to get all of that set up. And once that's all in the system, then you can go back to the settings menu, go to lock screen, and right up at the top where it says screen lock type, you're going to want to hit that. It's going to ask for your PIN. And now that you're here, you're going to be able to change your screen lock type. So if you don't want to use a PIN, you can also use a pattern, which I think is pretty cool too. If you want to get real crazy with the security, you can use a password, which is basically a long version of the PIN. In my opinion, it's super inconvenient. I don't like it at all, but you can definitely do that if you want. And then, of course, you could do none or swipe. I don't recommend these. I do recommend you have some sort of security on here. If you're like me and don't like typing pins or passwords or patterns, then definitely get the fingerprints set up and face unlock if you want to. It's not really necessary to have both, but I do think it's a good idea. Say you have a glove on, or if you're in a place where your face is covered or something like that, but still want to get into your phone, it's a good idea to have an alternate way. Where you're trying to read something or watch a video, something like that, and the screen just falls asleep on you, it's super annoying when that happens, and I'm going to show you a couple solutions. The first one is pretty basic. We're going to go to our settings, go down to display, and right here near the bottom, there's a section that says screen timeout. You're going to hit that, and you're going to be able to change the screen timeout time. You see I have mine set to pretty much the max at 10 minutes. You see I have mine set to the max at 10 minutes. Now this is good, especially since I personally just have my phone plugged in most of the time. But the drawback of having screen timeout set to so long is it wastes a lot of battery. So you might not want to do this. I definitely recommend playing around with it and seeing which one works best for you, because it's going to be different for everyone. Now if you're reading something or watching a video, this might not be enough time. In fact, for a lot of situations it's probably not going to be. And that's why I'm so glad that Samsung added this extra feature. And this feature is called Keep Screen On While Viewing. Basically, what this does is uses the front-facing camera to detect your face. And whenever someone's face is looking at the screen, it's not going to lock it. So you won't have to worry about the phone falling asleep on you when you're trying to read something or watch a video. To get to this from our settings menu, we're going to go to Advanced Features, Motions and Gestures, and toggle on Keep Screen On While Viewing. Once you do this, as long as you're clearly looking at the phone, it's not going to time out. The next thing I'm going to show you is a quick way to get to your camera and how you can customize it to access other apps instead. So all you need to do to open your camera, no matter where you are on the phone, is double tap the power button like this, and it's going to open that right up. But you can actually change a few different settings. I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to go to Settings, Advanced Features, Side Key, and now you see by default it's set to quick launch the camera. You can have it also open Bixby or open an app. Let's see what happens when we have it open an app. We're going to make it open Instagram. So double tap the power button, and there we go. It opens right up. It's really convenient if there's an app you use all the time and you want the fastest access possible to it. Maybe it's Snapchat if you want to capture quick moments or something like that, or you might be fine with the camera. Whatever way works best for you, the options to change it are all in this menu. The other thing is the press and hold. Now, this is definitely something to be aware of, especially if you're new to smartphones or Android in general. When you press and hold the power key, it's not going to have anything to do with the power. It's actually going to wake up Bixby. And in case you don't know, Bixby is this annoying thing. Basically, Bixby is just Samsung's voice assistant. I personally am not a fan of this at all. I think it's really annoying actually. And because of that, I like to select this other option for the power off menu. And now when you press and hold your power key, it's actually going to pull up the power menu. Now, in case you do use Bixby, because despite the fact that I don't personally like it, there are plenty of different uses for it. They can be really convenient if you happen to get the hang of it. So I'm going to show you exactly how to turn off your phone without the power off menu. So this is actually way easier than I would have thought before I learned how to do this. All you need to do is swipe down your quick menu, swipe it down one more time. And right here, there's a power button, hit that, and the power off menu is gonna pull right up. So the next thing I'm gonna show you is called Easy Mode. Basically what this does, more for accessibility reasons, is makes all the icons and text on the display giant, and it also gives you this nice little yellow keyboard that's super easy to type on. So to get to this, we're gonna go to settings once again, go to display, and easy mode is right here. Toggle this on, and now when you go to your home screen, everything is gonna be a little bit bigger. In addition to that, your keyboard is gonna look like this. It's a little bit bigger and the colors are brighter, so overall it's a lot easier to see. The next thing I'm going to show you is called touch sensitivity. This is basically for if you have one of those really thick, powerful screen protectors on your phone. Sometimes this might make using your phone a little bit more difficult. So what touch sensitivity does is increases the sensitivity of your screen so you can still use it like normal with a thicker screen protector on it. So to activate this, we're going to go to settings, display, and touch sensitivity right here. We're going to activate that. And now the screen's going to be a lot more sensitive. So if you do have something covering it, like a screen protector, it's going to help make it a lot easier to use. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is how to hide apps. There are lots of different reasons why you might want to do this, and it's super easy. All you need to do is go to that menu I showed you in the beginning, go to settings, and right here where it says hide apps, select this, and you're going to get a list of all the apps you have on your phone, and you can hide whatever you want. Once you hide something, it's not going to show up on your home screen or in your app drawer anymore. To get to it again, you have to come back to this menu and uncheck it, and then it'll be back to normal. But this was a beginner's guide for the Samsung Galaxy A72. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully these tips and tricks made setting up and getting used to your phone a little bit easier. As always, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.